Speaking of streaming, Mimi, we're going to talk about Netflix here announcing massive layoffs. They're letting go of about 150 employees, according to an internal memo sent out today. The streaming service says it lost about 200,000 subscribers since the start of the year. The second memo to make headlines for Netflix recently. The first was a staff note telling workers if they don't like the content on Netflix, they can quit.
Despite the increase in diversity of children's books published over the past 5 years, the industry is still overwhelmingly white. That's according to Dr. Penn, author and owner of Daydreamers Press. Books about white children, animals, and inanimate objects represents about 75% of books for young people. Dr. Penn says that why she created the turtle, that is why she created the turtle with an Afro series. She calls it the first modern animal character whose experiences and likeness represent black culture. The book is about a brown turtle who rocks Afro puffs, braids, and bantu knots as she faces and overcomes challenges all children can relate to.
I absolutely love that. It's graduation season, and the Obama Foundation is ensuring that more kids get their degrees. The CEO and co-founder of Airbnb, me and Mimi, we look alike. We're both switching back and forth, has donated about $100 million to the Obama Foundation to fund scholarships for students who are interested in pursuing careers in public service. The scholarship is being funded by the Voyager Scholarship. It will give about $50,000 to rising college juniors to cover their tuition over the next 2 years in school. And to also add on to that, a $10,000 grant to an Airbnb credit to pay for a summer experience that will be designed by the student. This is awesome. Now, recipients, they're also going to get a $2,000 Airbnb credit for the next 10 years after they graduate from college. That's awesome.
Amazing. The city of Minneapolis has been in the national spotlight for the past several years, from the George Floyd murder to an alarming amount of police misconduct incidents to the Paisley Park Prince tribute for Black Fashion Week. Minneapolis has been the center of many different conversations, and here to talk about it all is community advocate, CEO of the Ray McKenzie Group, and so much more, my longtime friend Sharon Smith-Akinsanya. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Romeo?
I'm doing great. Well, let's get right to it. It's been about 2 years since Minneapolis re-entered the public conversation with the tragic murder of George Floyd. How is Minneapolis healing, and what's the conversation like over the last couple of years?
We know that we're in the spotlight and we're trying to heal. We're trying to come back together, trying to make sure that we're holding our city officials and our business leaders accountable, and making them understand and think about what type of Minnesota do you want to live in? And deciding to just really make these policy changes. So I'm really excited that, we're moving that forward. We have an interim police chief, who's working through these things with our mayor, Jacob Fry. So now, policies have changed where you have to have a duty to report and intervene, so that we won't be in a situation like we had with the cops that were assisting Derek Chauvin, if you will, in the murder of George Floyd. And we are strengthening those anti-retaliation policies, so because there was a fear of, so if we did intervene, you lose your job, you lose your pension, you got to take care of your family. So we're moving forward, and figuring it out, just police officers need to be called in every situation, so we're working with Canopy, who's supporting behavioral health services, and they're being called first. And of course, they're being supported by our police officers, but we're moving forward and we're prohibiting those doggone no-knock warrants. And so we're moving forward collectively, but we have to do more.
Yeah, definitely have to do more. Now, since George Floyd's death, we have seen several police misconduct issues from Minneapolis. What's the city's relationship to the police now at this point? Is the relationship to policing getting better in the city at all?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we have, lots of community organizations, 21 Days of Peace. Like I said, we have our police chief and interim police chiefs and our mayor really working to understand the relationship with community. And that, like I said before, police officers don't need to be called in every situation, with people who are experiencing homelessness, who, are having, some substance abuse issues. So we're getting better in that space. The relationship is still, we still have trust issues. There's no question about it. So we've got to just take baby steps, but we will figure this out. And we know that all eyes are on us, but we have people in place and we're moving forward, and we have got to get this right. We just have to get this right.
Yes, it is so important that we do that. And you've already done things for that community. We know that. But what was probably the major changes that happened after the death of George Floyd, where you said, look, we got to switch this gear right now? Anything specific?
Well, I think that, the biggest change was that, corporations made pledges and promises, right? And to really make an investment in social justice issues, really paying attention to the fact that Black lives really do matter. So the biggest change is what the huge awareness factor that we've got to make a difference and that it's all of our problems, and that the business community and CEOs must step up and decide along with government, what type of Minnesota do you want to live in? And so I think the decision and the awareness is there, and we're moving the needle forward because we can't continue this way, because we do right now, Romeo, we do have two Minnesotas. And so we're going to have to fix that. You do great here, if you're white, but if you're Black, we got some serious issues and opportunities to fix, but we are on the move.
I love that. Now let's shift to a little bit some positive vibes from the city of Minneapolis. Black Fashion Week was kicked off by a special tribute to Prince. And of course, you had the opportunity to work with Prince. Tell us a little bit about that, if you will.
Well, yeah, I worked with Prince in the early 90s, just making sure that, we were doing marketing and just taking care of his vision. And so for the last 7 years, you probably know this, Romeo, I've been working on making sure that we crown our Prince with a larger than life mural in downtown Minneapolis, right across from First Avenue. And that will be revealed on June 2nd with a great big, huge block party. So that is very exciting.
Yeah, it definitely is. And what you're doing for the city is exciting, and from diversity all across the board. I know you're putting in work 24 hours a day. I want to thank you for taking out the time. We want you to come back again so we can talk more, go into more detail, the things that you're doing for that city, and maybe that can carry on to other cities and states as well.
Thank you for having me.
All right, take care.
Absolutely love that, Romeo. Target is increasing the amount of money it's spending with Black-owned companies and suppliers. According to a Target release, the retailer has increased its investments in Black-owned brands, companies, and suppliers by more than 50% compared to year 2020. Target also is more than double the number of Black-owned products that it carries. Now, more than 200 books from Black authors have been added over the last year, and its food and beverage options will also include about 50 Black-owned brands by the end of this year. Giant has also increased investments in Black marketing agencies, construction companies, facilities, maintenance, and so much more.
And now more than ever, owning property is an important way to start and continue building generational wealth. It's yet another industry, though, that is dominated by people that don't look like us. But Makeda Smith and her company, Savvy Chicks in Real Estate, they're working to change that. Makeda joins me now to break it all down. Makeda, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you. The name of your company precedes you. I have heard so much about it, and I'm so excited to talk to you about it today. Your real estate company, it's like a sisterhood in real estate. You champion Black women, making sure they have the tools and the knowledge to compete in this market. What do you want people to know about the real estate business, especially in this climate?
In this climate, what I want in 2022 to let people to know about the real estate business is that it's not the same as it was when I got licensed in 2004. And so we have to do some things different. And what I'm teaching real estate agents is now, you don't want your real estate business to just solely depend on real estate transactions and commission after commission. But I wish somebody would have set me aside and told me, take your commission and reinvest it into some other things. And so what we're showing real estate agents now is how do you create multiple streams within the real estate business to where you have digital products, you're putting on events, you have investments that you're making yourself so that it's not all dependent upon closing a deal.
Let's talk about the impact that Savvy Chicks in Real Estate has had on the community. You're teaching, like a new generation of entrepreneurs how to go get it and get it for themselves. What has the response been like?
They love right now in Savvy Chicks in Real Estate, like we have over 11,000 followers on Instagram. We have 3,000 in our private Facebook group. We have over 200 in our paid membership program. And so people are just loving it. I remember starting our conference 3 years ago in Oak Brook, Illinois in 2019 with just 65 people. And now every single year we're doubling and tripling that number because people are excited about not only just creating multiple streams of income, but having the community of their sisters to be able to say, hey, I'm struggling with this buyer, I'm struggling with this seller. Are you able to help? Hey, I have a property that I'm not licensed in Florida, but can I send you this buyer or send you this seller? And people are just loving the community, because a lot of times you look at real estate and we think that we are at odds with each other, but really we're in business together. It's a community.
You know, let's talk a little bit more about that community, because we know the industry is super competitive, but you always talk a lot about forming the community, and I really, really love that about you and your company and what you're building. But why is that so important to you?
It's important to me because when I think about when I started in real estate when I was 29 years old, you did not have women, it wasn't women in this office that I started in that will pull me to the side and say, hey, let me help you, let me nurture you in this business because I've been in it for 10 years. Let me show you the way. It was my broker who was an elderly man. He was at Oak Park, Illinois, Century 21, and he took me under his ropes. And so I don't want any woman or even any man for that matter to feel like they have to build this business alone. The things that God has given me and he has blessed me with, I want to be able to share that with other women within our industry to show them that if I can do it and be a top producer 3 consecutive years in a row, if you have Black women out here selling 21 million with real estate in 1 year, then you can do it too. But they have to see us doing it and they have to see us talking about it.
Yeah, you know, it's very important to see someone who's doing it so that you can see yourself in that person. And, you know, just starting over in any field can be difficult. But how do you empower more women to go into real estate?
So what for me, it's just that showing them different ways that they can be able to operate within this industry, whether it is investing in the stock market and investing in real estate stocks, or if it is investing in real estate, whether they want to hold a property and maybe Airbnb it, do some type of short-term rental. We're actually now teaching the agents to actually look into international real estate. Like, you don't just have to be licensed in the United States in order to sell real estate. And so what I and my organization want to do is to expand the mindset of women that are getting into this industry today, to let them know that it just doesn't stop within your city. You can start in your city, but then we can expand to other areas and different industries within real estate.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless. So, okay, let's get to the conference coming up, Licensed and Unbothered. I love that name. How did you come up with it? What does it mean? And what can guests expect from the conference coming up?
Yeah, about 3 years ago, I always say that I get these downloads from God, and I feel like it just dropped in my spirit. And it was like, no, you're licensed and unbothered. And basically what it means is that you're licensed as a real estate agent and you're unbothered by distractions, unbothered by competition, unbothered by the things that will stop you from being able to dominate within your industry. And when I told this to my friends that are lawyers, that are doctors and nurses, they was like, I'm licensed, I'm unbothered. And so now everybody is wearing this as, you know, they little mantras to say, like, this is who I am. And so for me, it was important for me to have a conference to where I can teach people that there is not just one way for you to be able to grow your income. I grew up on the west side of Chicago. I didn't have entrepreneur as parents. And so me climbing up and making my first 6 figures in real estate, I didn't have anyone to give me the example of the things that I needed to do. And so it's very important for me to put people in front of these ladies that can say, hey, I'm a 6-figure earner, I'm a 7-figure earner, even an 8-figure earner, but this is where I struggle with the RS. This is where I struggle with building a team. And so if we tell them what our struggles is, it helps them to avoid those things. But you have to be a certain kind of woman to help other women to be able to climb up that ladder as well.
Mm-hmm. So true. Okay, so the question that all of our soulmates want to know, is there still time to register? And if so, where can they go to do so?
Yes, they can go to our website, savvychicksandrealestate.com. You got Chrisette Michelle up there. She's going to be our guest on Friday night, and she is so sweet, so heavenly. I can't wait to hear her voice. We have somebody that's going to be talking about how to become a hotel owner, which there's still less than 1% of minority, especially Black-owned hotel owners in this country. And we have speakers that are looking to change that. And so those are the type of things that we're going to be talking about at the Savvy Chicks and Real Estate Conference next month in June.
Well, Makeda, thank you for joining us. I love what you're doing. Good luck on the conference. I wish I was in Chicago so that I could be there. We'll have to have you back and hear all about it.